Good morning, class. Today, everyone arrived at this wonderful 8 a.m. class with a deep sense of wonder as to what they may learn today. And perhaps your wonder can be satisfied with the 7 ancient wonders of the world, each of which was built in a time before Christ, each unique in its own way. And today, I'll assist everyone in understanding the purpose and origin of each. As a child, I was always fascinated by building things, and in fact, I overspent plenty of American dollars on Lego Star Wars sets. So, because I was always fascinated by the story of a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So let's go back in time together and explore the 7 ancient wonders of the world.
Did you turn it on? Is it on the side? Sorry.
Okay. Instead of summarizing a whole bunch of articles about each wonder of the world, I made a speech based off the key ingredients of each wonder, and I used SBCC's Credible Ancient History database. And like I said, the 7 are unique in their own way, and they each had their purpose for their own construction. First, I'll discuss the time period and location of each wonder. Second, I'll examine the purpose or story behind each one. And thirdly, I'll describe the size and the materials used for each wonder. All of these monolithic monuments existed in a time and place of an ancient existence. And according to Davis Hunt and Willie Page, the Pharaoh of Khufu built his pyramid, the Great Pyramid, in 2550 BC and 2528 BC in Cairo, Egypt. Ironically, this is the only wonder that still stands today, even though it's the oldest one out of all of them. Secondly, the Temple of Artemis was constructed in 550 BC, and it was built in Ephesus, Turkey. It took 50 years to complete, and it was in the wealthy harbor of Ephesus. And the statue of Zeus was completed in 435 BC, and it was finished in Olympia, Greece. And it was pieced together inside of the Temple of Zeus by the famous sculptor Phidias. And according to Patrick O'Brien, the Colossus of Rhodes was completed 304 BC in the coastal city of Rhodes, Turkey, as well. And the Lighthouse of Alexandria was completed 285 BC, in between the time range of 285 BC and 246 BC, and it took 2 whole generations to construct this lighthouse, and it was located on the island of Pharos, which is in the Mediterranean. And Ptolemy II Philadelphus was the one that was the leader at the time that completed the lighthouse. Number 6, we have the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. And according to Stephen Bertman, 2002, this one was completed in the 6th century BC. And it was what's modern day Baghdad, Iraq. And I found a quote from Nebuchadnezzar, the king Nebuchadnezzar, which was the ruler in that location at the time. And he described the Hanging Gardens, I quote, the marvel of mankind, the center of the land, the shining residence, the dwelling of majesty. And according to Davis Sachs 2015, the mausoleum of Pharnacosus was constructed 351 BC, and it was also in Turkey's coastal region, what is now known Gokova, Turkey today. Now, it's quite mind-boggling to realize that each of these was built without machinery and modern engineering. So this leads us to the question of why. Why was it built? Why was each of them built? First, the Great Pyramid was built, had a purpose of a royal tomb for the pharaohs, and it was a beacon of traveling through the field of reeds into the next life. And what happened was, when the pharaoh was mummified inside of the tomb, his spirit would find its way up, hit it against the walls of the pyramid, and exit through the peak and go through the field of reeds. And it symbolized afterlife. The Temple of Artemis, this, according to David Sachs, was built to commemorate the Greek goddess of Artemis, and she was the goddess of wilderness, animals, the protector of pregnant women. As you can tell, she was also fond of fertility because of her many breasts on this picture on the right. And the statue of Zeus was the center statue of worship in ancient Greece, and which was also built by Phidias, the famous sculptor. And it was said to be the most famous statue in the Greek world, and the scepter on his right hand symbolizing power over all the people on earth. The Colossus of Rhodes was built to commemorate the victory over King Demetrius when his invading army tried to take over this harbor city in Turkey. And this was 304 BC when he invaded. And the statue is built to commemorate the sun god Helios, which by myth helped defend the city from the invading fleet. The Lighthouse of Alexandria was built mainly to attract boats with a 25-mile radius, and on the peak of the lighthouse, there was a series of mirrors around a fire that made the light concentrated and focused on a certain direction, and that's how it produced a strong beam of light that could reach 25 miles out to the shore, off the shore. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon were built specifically for Nebuchadnezzar's wife because she was very fond of her homeland and the Zargos Mountains that she loved watching. And it was mainly constructed out of the Median vegetation, and it was like a ziggurat. And the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus was a tomb that was constructed for Mausolus, and in fact he died before it was completed, and so his sister became queen, Artemisia, because she was the next in by blood. And so after he was buried and then it was finished, and then the final part of construction was the 4-horse chariot on the very top, which symbolized the passage into next life. And thirdly, let's discuss about the materials and dimensions of each of these. So the pyramid was built out of 2,300,000 cube limestones, and the bigger ones were placed on the bottom to support the heavier ones, and it was a total of 13 acres. And according to Leslie and Roy Atkins, Temple of Artemis had 60-foot columns, and the base was 225 feet by 425 feet, and it was 3 times the size of the Parthenon. The Lighthouse of Alexandria was 350 by 350 in terms of the base, and the it had 3 tiers. The first section was 200 feet high, the second 115 feet high, and 60 feet high was the last section. And the peak had a statue of Poseidon. The hanging gardens had various plants, and it was irrigated by the Euphrates River. And most of these were destroyed by earthquakes, except for the Great Pyramid. So hopefully you guys learned a lot about the 7 ancient wonders of the world. Thank you for your time. And that's it.